We're good to go.
All right. Good. Thank you. Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Knopf,
Here.
Mr. Rivera.
Yeah.
Mr. Ruse,
I'm here as well. Sorry, guys.
Mr. John,
Here.
Mr. Trainer,
Here.
Mrs. Mayor,
Here.
Mr. Zazarina.
Here.
Notice of this meeting was provided to the Bernardsville News and Courier News, filed with the municipal clerk and posted on the municipal bulletin board on December 4th, 2025. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome to the April 27th, 2026 meeting of the Bernardsville Borough Council. Members of the public will be allowed to speak during the open sessions and during formal public hearings on the agenda. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker, which will be monitored and enforced by the borough clerk. Failure of the governing body to provide a live broadcast of this meeting or technological problems encountered during the course of this meeting that affect remote viewing and or participation will not invalidate this meeting or any action taken, including but not limited to the adoption of any ordinance, resolution, or motion. All right, first on the agenda, I'm gonna read the proclamation for Bob Walsh into the into the record. Bob is our veteran who is turning 100 on May 6th or 8th, I forget which one. Heartworks will be having a birthday party fundraiser for him on May 16th at the Mayan Antique, whatever that is, where they have all the antique autos. And what Heartworks does is at the Heartworks house down on 202, they hold the meetings, the veterans meetings there once a month, and they provide them dinner every month. So they have been very supportive of the veterans, and so they wanted to do an event to recognize Bob. So in recognition of his 100th birthday and distinguished service, whereas reaching the milestone of 100 years of life is a rare and extraordinary achievement, reflecting a lifetime of experiences, resilience, and wisdom. And whereas Bob Walsh, a respected resident of our community, will celebrate this 100th birthday, marking a century defined by service, perseverance, and devotion to family, country, and community. And whereas Bob Walsh honorably served in the United States Marine Corps as a radio telephone operator and radar operator in the Pacific Theater of Operations during World War II, answering the call to defend our nation and embodying the values of courage, duty, and sacrifice that safeguard our freedoms, and received the American Campaign Medal, the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal with 1 Bronze Star, the Army of Occupation Medal, and the World War II Victory Medal. And whereas following his military service, Bob Walsh continued to exemplify the spirit of citizenship through his integrity, kindness, and quiet leadership, earning the admiration and respect of all who know him. And he continues to serve as a proud member of Bernardsville VFW Memorial Post 7858. And whereas Bob Walsh's life stands as a living testament to the strength of character, patriotism, and commitment that define the greatest generation, and his story serves as an inspiration to present and future generations. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that May 8th is hereby recognized as Bob Walsh Day in Bernardsville, and all residents are encouraged to join in celebrating his 100 years of life, honoring his military service and expressing gratitude for his enduring contributions to our community and nation. In witness whereof, I hereupon set my hand and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you want this? I'll just leave it here. You can tell me. Yeah, he's just a great guy and in good health for 100. I think he's one of the only World War II veteran we still have, I think, in that group. Yeah. All right, moving on to approval of minutes. We have March 16th and March 23rd. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move to. Oops, I lost my document. The second I said it.
I'll move the minutes for March 16th and March 23rd, 2026.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we now have our first open session for any items that aren't listed for a public hearing. If anyone in the public would like to be heard, please come up and stand on the silver X. I don't know, I can't see if anybody's on
No,
there.
it's less than general, as long as it's not really there.
Brandon? Got nothing?
Report last week.
Summer readings coming June 13th.
Okay. All right. Seeing none, I will close the open session. I will open a public hearing on ordinance 2026-2045, an ordinance supplementing and amending the Borough Code by creating a new section 2-27 entitled Damage to Mailboxes Resulting from Snow Removal and establishing a maximum reimbursement amount. Would anyone like to be heard on this ordinance? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. We'll start with Rich.
I move to pass ordinance number 2026-2045 on final reading and adopt as published.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Rivera.
Yes.
Mr. Ruth.
Yes.
Mr. Strong.
Yes.
Mr. Trainer. Yes. Ms. Zamara.
Yes.
Mr. Zazarino.
Yes.
I will open the public hearing on ordinance 2026-2046, an ordinance providing for the improvement of the Morrison Avenue pump station by the Borough of Bernardsville, the County of Somerset, New Jersey, and appropriating $1,115,000 therefore, constituting proceeds of grants in the amount of $750,000 from the County of Somerset ARP funds and $365,000 in sewer capital improvement funds. Would anyone like to be heard on this ordinance? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing.
All right. I move to pass ordinance 2026-2046 on final reading and adopt as published.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Zazarino.
Yes.
Ms. Zamara.
Yes.
Mr. Trainer.
Yes.
Mr. Strong.
Yes.
Ruth.
Yes.
Mr. Rivera.
Yes.
All right. Now we have introduction of ordinances. Christine, you want to read
I
them?
move that ordinance 2026-2047 be introduced by title, passed on first reading, published according to law, appropriating $1,840,140 from the capital improvement fund for various equipment and improvements as listed in the 2026 municipal budget, and that a public hearing be scheduled for a meeting beginning at 7 p.m. Tuesday, May 26, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I move that ordinance 2026-2048, bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of new and additional firefighting equipment by the Borough of Bernardsville and the County of Somerset, New Jersey, appropriating $1,500,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,425,000 in bonds or notes of the borough for financing such appropriation, be introduced by title, passed on first reading, published according to law, and a public hearing be scheduled for a meeting beginning at 7 p.m. Tuesday, May 26, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Charlie.
I move that ordinance 2026-2049. An ordinance supplementing and amending chapter 2, article 19 entitled background checks required of certain borough officers and employees and outside contractors by requiring background checks for all prospective borough employees. Be introduced by title, passed on first reading, published according to law, and a public hearing be scheduled for a meeting beginning at 7 p.m. Tuesday, May 26, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, moving on to resolutions.
What did we skip?
Did I skip something?
2048?
Wait, did I?
I heard that.
Oh, I was supposed to abstain from that.
Oh, the bonds.
Yeah. Are you sure you remember?
We did that.
Yeah, I did that. You wanna read that? Or it was a voice vote?
Yeah.
I didn't hear you, I didn't hear you. Yeah.
It's the introduction anyway, so it's, we'll remember it for next time. Just going through the resolutions, any that we want to talk about separately, we always like to notice that's a new member in the fire company.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bravery's the same. Bravery's the same, right, Memorial Day?
Yeah, I think so, let's see. Here's, we're approving the May Day parade route. Cub Scouts, do the
Kirkpatrick.
their little, yeah, Kirkpatrick, what's new? Oh, yes, we have the new code enforcement officer, so that was new. Was it former police? Bernard Simpson, yeah. Yeah. We have an appointee to recreation. Anything else? I just know with the Cub Scouts, they do know they need a fire permit.
I think,
Yeah, we have Aaron here, right? So you,
We will get whatever we need. We've done it before then in the past. We use a contained total sieve. We're not, open burning, and we work with, Mr. Waters in the past and.
oh, great. How is that working out with having, using the house and,
Well, thank you.
Good.
The house is, it's probably smaller than when we do our events there, they're usually outdoors. They're,
Yeah.
events, but it's nice to have that in group space so we can use the fridge, something like cold food or something like that while we're setting up, and the garage is wonderful. No problem lugging our equipment up and down the steps of the church. We appreciate it as well, but it's much nicer.
yeah,
Thank you.
all right, thanks, Aaron. Okay, anything on there that we want to do separately? I think we're pretty much on all of them.
So the budget? No.
No, we do.
Yeah,
have-
yeah.
Yeah.
We could pull that.
Oh, there, yeah, separate. So we need to move 26,102 to 26,115.
I'll do it. I move that resolutions 26-102 to 115 be adopted.
I second.
Okay, roll call please.
Rivera,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Rob. Yes. Mr. Trainer.
Yes.
Mrs. Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Zazarino.
Yes.
All right, now we move on to the adoption of the 2026 budget. I think before we open the public hearing, we'll let you guys, our finance chair, do the presentation.
Yep. So you want to pull it up, Anthony? So while Anthony's pulling it up, I just want to first say just a couple of things. Starting off, big thank you to our CFO, Leslie, who's on the line. I saw her there. So thanks for all the work, and Nancy, our administrator, for all the guidance, and of course, my fellow finance committee, Triple Mayor Canos and Councilman Jerome. And thanks for all the hard work that led to it. The presentation itself isn't that much different than what Charlie showed last month at the introduction. If you were for anybody watched or listened into or attended the working meeting last week, you'll see this. There's been some updates to it after the discussion we had as council last week, and some other clarity that Leslie put into it too. So I'm just going to take you through kind of maybe some of the slides that we hadn't talked through as much before we open up to a public hearing. So first of all, the key takeaways: we lowered the tax rate for the fifth straight year of it being flat or lowered. We decreased it from 0.469 to 0.464, which is the largest decrease in decades, at least until we look back, which is around 2010. Significant. All that said, there were significant headwinds that continue to face as a municipality. Other municipalities face it as well. Increases in non-discretionary items such as health insurance, which is big, contractual items, utilities, liability insurance, and state aid, unfortunately, continues to remain flat, which it's been that way for ever.
20 years.
20 years, yeah, despite promises that would increase. We increased the use of cash for capital purchase in order to reduce future debt services. It's the largest capital budget in over a decade, which fulfills a council goal. We had a nice healthy debate on that last meeting, and that was great to sort of hash out, how we were investing in the capital budget. The borough valuation has increased for the sixth straight year. In our minds, that demonstrates the positive momentum from the investments we made into the borough, but we're going to go into that a little bit later too. That the increase in valuations and what's that, how that's matriculating throughout the budget. We keep making investments, our community priorities, investments in public safety, including purchase of a new fire truck, the Jaws of Life and the chest compression unit for the fire department, which just want to thank the fire department and rescue squad for their great engagement with us early on, so we understand their priorities and can help co-plan, like we said, as well as the police department as well. We were able to fund police cars, body cameras, and video technology because of that. We achieved the first allocation for the library of over $1 million. I also want to really thank Fran and the library team. I mean, they've really done a nice job of managing their budget, being transparent and open with us on council on the challenges they're facing. They face the same exact challenges that we do as a municipality, and they've been able to really manage it nicely. Still a lot of difficulties in helping them achieve, they've had a lot of good advice from their board, but want to thank them for their partnership as well. And then we increased support for pool and recreation to support this community asset. A reminder that we represent about a quarter of the residents' overall tax burden. We put $1 million appropriated to the open trust fund to pay back master plan improvements. Something new on the next slide that we didn't do in previous years, but we thought as a finance committee and as a council, we would maybe articulate for the public, and I might pause after this to see if there's other council members that want to add anything on this as well, or the mayor. So like in the current budget, this was our overall approach and our goals. Smart fiscal planning to balance funding mandatory items, core service, and discretionary items with as low of a tax burden as possible. And we're big on trying to ensure there's no significant spikes or dips year after year with the headwinds, because we know that could do to residents and how they have to plan their own household budgets as well. We want to try to invest in areas that we believe improve residents' quality of life and experience while increasing the borough's value, and the investment support the council community goals and increase the capital budget. Understand the current and long-term needs of borough departments, including the police, fire and rescue, and the library, and co-plan these to address them together. A smart approach to debt management, actively manage to ensure we maintain our AAA credit rating, which has been, a real asset to the borough, and ensure reasonable annual debt obligation, which helps fund our future needs. Over the long term, we want to lower the overall tax burden on residents, particularly through expanding the share of commercial property taxes and other income contributing to funds raised. Currently, 91% of our taxes as a borough comes from residential taxes. So if you can think about it, every time we want to invest in something, 9 out of every $10 comes from really on the back of residents. Now that's lower. We've made some progress in this space just a few years ago. That was at 93 or 94%, and we're down to 91. But really, as a collective council, our goal is to get that into the 80s, and ideally even to the mid or low 80s, so that commercial properties or other properties in the borough pay more of a percentage, and therefore it's not always going back to residents whenever we want to make an investment in the borough. And then we want to ensure that Bernardsville remains an attractive location for future residents and businesses, particularly compared to peer communities in the region who have a choice of going to other communities other than Bernardsville when they're looking to move in. And we want them to choose Bernardsville, whether they're starting a family here, moving here for the rest of their lives, or starting a business here as well. So I'm just going to take a quick pause. Anyone from council want to add anything? Because I know we talked about this pretty much at length last week too.
Yeah, just roll it back a minute. The only thing I wanted to just emphasize is the second one, is ensuring there's no spikes or dips. And I think it's very easy for a council or any particular council member to want to, let's cut the budget. Let's give taxpayers as much as you'd like to do that. I think if you reduce it 1 year, it's going to double back on you in 2 years. So the idea of trying to keep it stable so that people aren't caught unaware that, when one council changes, suddenly the next council has to increase the budget. So I think we've been very focused on that stability. I think that's really important. So thank you for making that point.
Yeah, I just reemphasize what Al said on the long term. I think what we're trying to do here, and Mayor mentioned some of it as well, is we're not trying to come in here and make a quick cut that's just sort of a sugar rush. And what we're trying to do is really attract folks who want to be here for decades and make it as attractive financially as possible to be here by bringing in other revenue sources, other efficiency gains, which Nancy's driven a lot of in recent years, so that you can get the most in terms of amenities, community, quality of town, quality of life here, while paying the least amount. That's what we're trying to achieve, and we have basically a long-term plan, thanks to Leslie, thanks to the rest of the finance committee to achieve that.
It is a challenging balance.
For taking a balanced approach to this, bringing the rest of us into the discussion when had questions or whatever it was. So great job this year. And, again, significant cut, at least historically, but again, with stability as a focus. Great job.
Thank you. Anyone else? Otherwise, I just want to hit a few other quick
Yeah,
points.
we'll keep going.
Yeah, okay, Charlie did a lot of these, so I'm just kind of going to spend a lot of time, but reminder that only a quarter of your tax bill comes from the borough, and that tax rate is what we really can control. A lot of other factors go into your tax bill, your property and the valuation of your property, and then of course, county is primarily school taxes as well. Keep going. So just a quick overview of the budget, altogether, taxes, 14 million, other revenue increased now to a little over 7 million, total revenue 21 million, which is just a 300,000 increase over 2025. Keep going. So just we put in here, and this is all, be online for public consumption, but we really try to break down what are mandatory core services and discretionary, mandatory required by statute. Core services, we move them in there. It's not statutorily required, but public works, IT, utilities that we know we have to pay anyway. So really, when we look to discretionary items that we get full control over and decide to invest, it's about 4% or about a little over $800,000 of what is really, we choose to invest there. Increases in non-discretionary, and it's, yeah. Altogether, you could see that 370,000 in contractual salaries, 270,000 in health benefits, $30,000 in liability, state mandated street sweeping, $45,000. So the total increase there was $650,000.
The health increase, and thanks to Nancy and the council, would have been much higher had we not made different decisions in last year as well, right?
We made it, Nancy, you want to just speak to what we did there real quick?
Sure, we left the New Jersey State Health Benefits Plan, because they were looking at a 37% increase. And we joined, a HIF, a health insurance fund, a joint health insurance fund. It is NJ Solution, and, we were able to reduce the increase to 1.3%. So instead of 37, it still increased 23, which you see there, it's still significant, but a lot better than 37%, which is, as we hear in the state of it's kind of only going to get larger this time.
Well, and as more people pull out of it,
Yeah,
it's only leaving the ones that can't get out.
yeah,
Because
and
they're
fortunately, we hit it just right.
right.
It's all about her
Experience. Yeah.
Yep, good. This is the next slide. This is the overall increase in the borough valuation. You can see over that 5 years, it's been a $751 million increase in the overall value of all properties in the borough. Listen, we know that this is a positive thing, right? The borough is an appreciating asset and it's getting more valuable. At the same time, there's a lot of factors that go into that, the economy and other factors that, that's why we really want to have that steady year-to-year management so that there are spikes in overall valuation. We're able to manage through that. And it's also a recognition that, this manifests itself in, obviously, on your property tax bill. If your property value goes up, your property tax bill goes up. We're hoping that over time, when people go to then sell their house and, at a different stage of life, that they then realize the appreciation of that asset and claim the full value of it. The next slide. Mention this. So years of either flat, slight decrease, or the bigger decrease this year. Keep going. Charlie did a nice job on this slide last time, so I won't go into the details. One thing that's new on here, we put in here, was this average assessment. I really want to kind of draw your attention to the bottom. In that the average residential assessment increased by $66,000 essentially. It's kind of in line with recent years. Last year, I think it was 75,000. The year before that, year was a little over 50,000. So it's right in line there, but that's what creates that larger increase over years. In the end, the average resident, you'll see about a $257 increase in the residential tax bill. It's a reminder too that municipal taxes are only a portion of it. Doesn't include school and county taxes, which are 75% back to the municipal portion. Okay, keep going. And then we, I won't go into it deeply because, we talked about it last time, but we try to break down how the budget's divided between $21 million and all the different areas that have pie charts, so people can see that. Next slide. Try to give some detail on that capital budget. And who in which department requested, major improvements, and that we were able to fund this year. So keep going.
Just want to mention.
Yep,
This is not all that they asked for.
sure. Nobody got everything they asked for.
Yeah,
Yeah. But great partnership though, to really understand
yes,
what people were experiencing, what was a priority now versus what could potentially wait until 27. And I think those conversations, that we look over the long run and give people, gives us an idea of how we can stagger the funding to try to achieve the goals and what the department's trying to import, and what we're trying to achieve as a borough.
and also keep that capital
Yep,
funds available.
that's it. Nothing in the appendix. I think you can go back up and I think we're good. So that's the budget presentation. Happy to answer
All right.
any questions, and that'll be online too.
So I will open the public hearing on the 2026 budget. So if anyone would like to comment, feel free. Yeah.
Hi.
Name and address.
Good morning. Thank you. I just had a question about the reimbursement from the open space trust fund to the borough. I was wondering if that could be fleshed out a little bit, like what are the expenses and what are they incurred of it?
So
The $1 million?
$1 million, yeah.
Yeah, so that's to start paying back the money that we used, for the polo ground, I believe. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
Leslie,
Oh,
can you just confirm on that? I think we talked about,
the reimbursement piece.
the $1 million that was.
Yeah, so that pretty much pays the capital fund back for the work that's been done so far through the master plan. So that would be the walking path, the lighting, everything that was done through the master plan. It was always intended that the open space trust fund would pay for that. So this is avoiding having to go out for debt for what we've done so far.
Okay, you finish up.
Yeah, so that was the polo grounds work that's been done over the last few years. And so my follow-up question was gonna be, why wasn't that paid directly from the open space trust fund as opposed to, doing it through a reimbursement later?
That was to, it gave us the flexibility with having, we don't know exactly how much was going to be done all at once. So by doing that open space, the capital ordinance, that allowed the borough to move forward with the projects and have that appropriation available. And then as we were doing the projects, we could take the money from the open space trust either in pieces, depending on what else needed to be paid for out of the open space trust, or like we're doing right now, since we didn't really spend much out of there, we can move all that money over to reimburse us for what we spent so far. The council will still have the additional $3 million that's in that ordinance to spend on the projects that were planned. And then again, moving forward, we can reimburse that ordinance by pieces or in chunks, depending on what's available in the open space trust fund.
Okay, so I guess my follow-up was so that money, the $1 million coming out is do you know what the balance approximately of the open space trust fund is?
The balance of the recreation of the 100% either way account is just under 3 million right now. So once we move this over, it'll be just under 2 million. And that does not include the open space trust. I'm sorry, the open space tax for 2026.
And that also doesn't include, if I'm correct.
The acquisition.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's
There's
Little over
about
5 million.
6.3 available in the acquisition side.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And do you know I mean, are there other amounts that have been paid already by the borough that are eligible for reimbursement that you're aware of from that open space trust fund? It just sounds like the $1 million was a start. Do you know if there's additional remaining?
As far as I know, this million covers what has actually been spent to date.
Okay.
Yeah, but we still have the pavilion to do, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I know Aaron knows this, but for the public's benefit, referendum was passed, 2019, going into 2020, allowing, the borough to use the open space funds going forward, not in the past. With further funds collected for improvements on recreational facilities and not just the acquisition of open space.
You evolved over time.
Yeah, originally it was
Originally,
only
only
acquisition, then there was a percentage,
20%, I think it was.
right,
And we never added maintenance, the state law has maintenance, we still have
Right.
acquisition and development.
yeah. And that was a public referendum, so it was, the
Right.
community
All three
voted
of
on
them.
it.
Yeah.
All right, anyone else on the budget? Okay, I will close the public hearing, and thank you for your hard work on this, and Nancy and Leslie, you did a great job, I know you put a lot of time into this.
Thank you, Nancy and Wesley. And
That's okay. Yeah.
you know, it was great. I think we balanced a lot of priorities, saved the taxpayers some dollars and funded our long-term fiscal health. So it's good.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for the hard work.
Well, you moved the resolution.
All right, nice. I move that resolution 26-116 be adopted.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Darrow,
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Drum.
Yeah.
Mr. Trainer,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
Mr. Zazarino.
Yes.
Until next year.
Congratulations.
Resolution.
All right, thanks
It
everyone.
always, boggles my mind that here we are in
Hey.
May. And we're approving the budget that we've been spending since January. I never understood that because, I did school board budgets and we would do them July to June and we'd get them approved in March. So then, you were ready to go June. I don't know why this state does it this way. All right, my report. Let's see. Main Street had a mixer at the Bernie in March that was very well attended, with our local businesses. I attended a panel on transit that Assemblyman McCurdy hosted. It was actually very interesting because they had an update on the Gateway project. And they said phase 1 will be 2 new Hudson tunnels. And the tunnel borers came from Germany and they are being assembled here. Really was interesting, yeah. By 2031, they expect to replace the entire bus and rail fleet. But the units are backordered for 7 years.
Oh,
I know,
We still have trains from the seventies here, I think.
yeah. Hey, when my husband took them, they had the wicker chairs. The windows didn't open and they weren't air conditioned. So we're making progress.
No, I was gonna say ours, we have those.
Yeah.
But good, we're making progress.
They commented the Penn Station has 600,000 people go through it a day and its capacity is 200,000. So that's another $7 billion project to redo that. Yeah. On the 28th, Recreation had their Easter event, which was very well attended. It was I don't know if you remember, it was a super cold weekend, so they moved it inside and just did the egg hunt outside, but they still had a good turnout.
Great.
I did my 34th wedding, officiated on the 2nd. I attended the YMCA awards ceremony. They invite me every year when they give out their volunteer awards, and look at how far they've come in their fundraising. I attended a downtown New Jersey webinar on how your downtown can get involved with FIFA events. So that's kind of, we're trying to figure that out. It's just, we're so small. It's very hard for us to. I'm applying for a license in order to stream the Paraguayan and US game on the 12th of June. It's, they're acting like we're this, giant, we're Patterson or something, that with the details they want and who's the commercial sponsors and all. It's like, just, let us show it. Just, very frustrating, but I don't want to do any promotion until I have the license. So I'm waiting to try and get the license to show it. Charlie and I were at the fire company dinner, and Ross. Yeah, and Congressman Kay was invited, couldn't be there, but I presented his proclamations for him. We had the volunteer awards ceremony on the 13th. Our 5 outstanding community volunteers. Hey, you were there. No, you weren't there.
Me, Christine, and Ross.
Yes, we're there. It was an excellent program. I think people were very pleased, so hopefully we will continue that every
And a
year.
great turnout for that.
Yeah,
It was really, I was very happy with that.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, we had a good turnout and people were very happy with it. So, it's always nice to recognize volunteers.
Thanks to the library for hosting.
Yes.
Fortunately, I couldn't make it. I just think one of the things that makes Burnsville really special is how many people volunteer. So it's great to see. I mean, this is really what everything. So everyone here is volunteers. A lot of people at the library. That's the glue of this community. So it's really great to see so many folks turn out. And the more we can do to encourage volunteership in towns. So.
And they got a nice plaque, but if you notice as you go down the stairs, there's a bigger plaque on the wall, and we have every year who the volunteers that got awarded, and it's gonna be full pretty soon. So, yeah. I attended the Highlands Council meeting when they approved our amended plan, so that we're moving another step ahead on that. I think that was where it's an amended plan because we cut out the downtown piece, so that's where any development takes place, but we protect all the areas outside what we designated as downtown. So it helps to protect the water beyond downtown. I'm not sure what the next, I know Jessica is, do you know what it is? Oh, I'll let you tell then, okay. We had the car wash fundraiser. I don't know if anybody got their car washed. I did. Did you get your car washed?
I wasn't able to, actually, that is terrible, but great event there.
Yeah, the owner of the car wash
Awesome.
had a fire in his house. Was it 2 years ago? And he was so impressed with what this volunteer fire company did, that he wanted to do a give back. So he, as he said, he turned over the tunnel to the fire company for the day. And so they collected the money. It was $25. And, when you first pulled in, they were there and you made your donation and then you got your car washed. And I don't know how much they made, but I was there maybe at 11 o'clock and he said they had gotten 1,600 before they even opened the door because people had just written checks. So, yeah. I attended the Feeding Hands 1-year anniversary. They are now in Warren. That's the group that used to do the feeding program here in town. They have an amazing facility, so I know why they left us, but we are working with the Somerset County Food Bank to try and get a location again here, probably at the chapel. So hopefully we will once again have food service. I attended, Jack, you probably know this stuff. The League of Municipalities had a lunch and learn on the new hemp laws. Yeah, and I've already been contacted by Gary's because it's going to affect them. So there's a few bills hanging around to try and delay it. But what it means is basically you can't distribute a lot of the beverages they have there, they won't be able to sell any. So
Is that a state or federal?
that's state right now. Yeah. Yeah. And then I had my 35th wedding that I officiated at. Those of you that go to the upstairs at MV, Barb, that's who I married, Barb. Barb got
Oh,
married.
really?
That's great.
Yeah. We had the Green Fair Saturday. Again, thank you to the library for hosting. It was really well attended, a lot of good information, activities for the kids. Just really was excellent. I think especially because it rained, which it was already inside, so we didn't have to try and move it. So hopefully that will go on every year. This is the third year, I think. with the Green Fair. Yeah,
Environmental committee available.
it was, yeah, and the green team.
And the green team.
And even the high school green team, which I think is great that they've got one in the high school.
And they lost it for kids there too, and thanks to the library for something that.
Yeah. And then today I was at the Highlands Coalition. I always get these letters, the Highlands Council, the Highlands Coalition. They had an event, gave a Lifetime Achievement Award to Walter Lane. I don't know if any of you know Walter Lane, but he is now the director of the New Jersey Office of Planning Advocacy. And his team redid that whole New Jersey state plan, the development plan. So we were encouraged to read it if you have some time. But yeah, he's an amazing guy. I mean, we really miss him in the county. He was the county head of the Department of Planning and Economic Development, and just a great guy. All right, that's me.
So the next step for the Highland, the planner to develop a center plan, which is their plan for the center area. So Jessica's been in various groups like the Planning Board, Environment Commission, to develop how the center area should be developed over time. And get input. Some other things have to be done with planning performance, so she's put the scope of work together. Good news is we'll submit it to the Highland for grant funding, so
Yeah.
we don't pay for it. Oil and Terrace, we're still waiting for DOT to approve that scope, the change of scope. If you remember, the plan had the sidewalk on the north side of Fort Point. So we're still waiting to approve that, hopefully that will be able to get started. But Dayton's present, work began on about a week ago. We expect it to last about another 2.5 more weeks, weather pending. Should definitely be done by the end of May. Residents were notified that they cannot park for 48 hours in their driveway after the pavers go in. They can park on the street, but they all got notification of that. The library roof, Frank had mentioned it, for last meeting, passed its final inspection. So they replaced shingles, replaced the ridge vent, repaired snow guards, took out part of the ceiling and fixed, drainage pipes. So, that bought us at least another 5 years on the roof. It was a really good thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, some good news, I forgot to tell you at the last meeting. On March 11th, we had a note sale. We sold $4.7 million in bond anticipation notes. And there were 7 bidders, and the bond council, all the people on the lot, they were so impressed that there were that many, because a lot of them had never bid before. I mean, still bond down. So TD Bank was the lowest within the bidder.
Really looking good.
Of 2.564%.
That's really.
That's good.
Yeah.
And it's really a testament, I think,
Yeah.
honestly, to your work, but also to,
Which is happening.
but, go ahead, sorry, Nancy, go ahead.
But responsibility, so.
Nice.
Yeah. That's excellent.
Really great news, really congrats to the council.
Have you seen the New Jersey Transit yet? Are they doing the asbestos one?
Yes, the asbestos.
Yeah, they,
To make sure that they find the leak so that they can repair it and repair the ceiling, because they can't open that waiting area until the ceiling is fixed, because it has been collapsing.
Yeah.
They don't want it to get hurt. And then to repair the damage from the fire that we find no record of.
I know what they're saying. Well, they did assure me that they would have the asbestos removal done before the farmer's market starts up again. That's what they told me.
It's close.
And they did, I think, I remember when they did seal the roof, they put something on to seal it. Just so it wouldn't get worse,
When does the market start, May?
first weekend in June, so, but they said it would be a 2 to 3 week job to do the asbestos, so. We'll see, I'll call them again.
We could host a red ribbon ceremony when they do it.
That's right.
To open the farmer's market and the new. train
Yes. I just forgot to mention, we have a new appointee to the planning board. Russ was on the planning board. How long ago? For many years, did a great job. Yeah, was one of our stellar members, and he just moved back to town and wanted to be involved again, so.
He was on Board of Adjustment too, I owned him for several years, so Board of Adjustment. He's great, he's really good.
Yeah, so I thought it's rare that somebody calls me and says, I want to do something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be on planning board, so.
Awesome.
Yeah. I need a motion to accept our department monthly reports.
I will move to accept the department monthly reports.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. A correspondence from Laura Finelli, who is a realtor in town, who has been representing the sellers and buyers for Monterey Gourmet. She's trying to find a replacement for the manager, I guess, and it's kind of been, they've had trouble with the previous owners. So the new ownership is closing in mid-May. So they're having a problem with the transfer of the liquor license. Right? Am I getting this right? No, not theirs. We did, that was Adelphia. So what she's asking for is if we would have a special meeting when they finally get the sale done to approve the liquor license so that they can get it done quickly and get back running the business.
Why is our state office? Very strict state laws, I mean, comparatively. to others,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they don't want to do the transfer until they actually have the ownership
Oh, I
side,
see.
So the question, can we do a special meeting?
If we
Well,
need it, even.
Yeah.
it's my decision. I'll just call a meeting, but I
Right.
don't want to inconvenience you guys if you.
Yeah, of course, let's get it, let's
Can
get
you
it.
approve it conditioned upon the closing?
Jack?
I'm sorry, okay.
So transfer of liquor license, can you approve it conditioned upon the closing of the business, like a business transaction?
Yeah, they're usually pretty strict with those things, but good thought.
Can you approve it?
Well, like,
That we don't strike it down at the next meeting or something?
No, I think, we can just call a meeting, or do a phone call in or a Zoom, a 10-minute, just to approve it.
how quickly would they need the approval? Like, in other words, because we have 2 meetings in May, and it comes, even at the working meeting, we can always approve it, just announce that there's something then.
Well, it's in line, she said, to close mid-May, so when is our meeting in May?
The 18th is the work meeting, the 26th is the regular meeting.
So 18th is kind of mid-May.
Yeah, so it might work out.
Yeah,
If we're able to, then.
yeah, well,
Probably do a special 5-minute.
I mean, are you okay if I call
Yeah.
a meeting, should they close, on the 10th and want to get this done? We'll be okay with that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we're open to it, and so that was the only correspondence. You had some
I
correspondence.
just had one email from someone today actually about a flag that they had requested to be replaced, so I forwarded it to Nancy to follow up with Rick.
We did.
Oh, that was nice.
So, the rec director said that he had not been, contacted, or he would have dealt with it, urgently.
That's why.
And the DPW director said it'll be addressed.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, any unfinished business? Do we have anything hanging around? New business? All right, And now is our second opportunity for the public. If anyone wants to say anything, ask anything,
I'm just gonna let you.
Yes.
Name,
just stand on the silver X. You see this?
Silver X.
And
I'm
name-
Edward Gregory, I'm in Bernardsville, 65. Marsan Road, which was formerly the Audi dealership,
Yes.
which I have been trying to tear down and replace. We initially had attempted to build it, but upon interior demolition and some other issues with asbestos removal, we discovered that the better course was to literally take the building down, keep the footprint as was promised to you and from you. One of the issues that's holding us up is New Jersey Transit has to come back to me with the building slightly, very slightly, like maybe the corner of your desk there, continues into their right of way, or actually part of moving. And I have been working with Gradeco, which was, or I think Nancy originally worked with them, years ago, to have the NJT, give me this agreement. The town was under the impression that the agreement was signed off on. Upon contacting Gradeco, they said it never was. But that because they had all the data that you supplied them with, it would be an easy thing. That was in September. And I understand, and I don't want to get too far afield here, that there's going to be sort of an ad hoc committee put together to help us with the redevelopment, have a preliminary meeting prior to the redevelopment application. But this is one of the issues that's holding us up. And I'm tired of explaining to my friends and family why
Everybody's so excited.
Yeah.
I want to assure you that we are ready to put a shovel in the ground. The drawings are done. They're all stamped, approved, ready to go. I want to submit it to redevelopment. The moment that our application timing is accepted. So is there anything that can be done to help us move this along with New Jersey Transit?
Yes.
Oh, New Jersey Transit, yeah, we could reach out.
If you could, because I suspect I'm just a name in the check file.
Yes.
You're a municipality, to be big. And
Nancy, they have something.
and then the other thing I would ask is, sorry.
I think I'm gonna probably answer it right now. Technical committee, the review committee.
I think so.
Yeah, so,
It's a mystery to me.
so apparently when this redevelopment plan was written, it said that you, as council, would adopt, appointment, technical committee. So technical review committee is typically the planning board, but since it, in this plan says that you'll appoint, what they do is you will give us a preliminary plan, we'll look at it and see if, you know, there are any glaring errors before it gets to the planning board, because it kind of just smooths the,
Right.
you know, makes it cleaner. So, I was talking to Matt, Jessup, who is our redevelopment attorney now, and he's not the one who wrote that plan,
All
but,
right.
we thought that, the best people to be on it would be Jessica, the planner, and her role would be to make sure all the setbacks were good, the zoning, things like that. Steve, I believe it's Steve Bolio, who's the new board engineer, who's the engineering thing. A member of council, it cannot be a planning board member, but a member of council or the mayor, myself and Denise Florida. Denise is there because obviously this is gonna go to the board, she's like, know what's going on. And then myself and the mayor or council person would be to make sure that the plans look like what we thought it was gonna be. Right, so, I'm guessing it would only be a meeting, one meeting probably to review it. So, and you already, paid your escrow, because the escrow place paid the, professional. So, I don't know how that gets pointed, if that has to be a formal thing or just.
I think to, at least by motion.
Yeah.
If you want the mayor to do the power.
I'll do it.
Something formal.
Yeah.
I beg you.
Yeah, definitely.
We've owned it for 15 months now. Opportunity sunk costs.
Yeah.
Engineering fees have been paid, architecture, I'm way in excess of. I'm approaching $200,000 in addition to the cost of the building itself. Furthermore, I'd like to add that the escrow, I found out on Thursday afternoon that it was in negative territory. And, I'd never been informed that there was an outstanding escrow. I took a check the following morning into the building office and presented them a check for $21,000, being $5,000 down. So that there would be an excess of $15,000 in the account in order to encourage everyone to move along. This looks terrible. I feel terrible about it. I have a business ready to move in there, generate tax-free wall, and it's going to be an attractive building. It's going to follow exactly what we claimed, that it will be in the exact footprint. It will be slightly taller because it will have a second showroom floor.
Right.
So we're going to do everything to the letter. So, well, I need your help.
How can we help them on the NJ Transit Fund?
I can contact the, our liaison and do the transit.
And if that doesn't work, we call John Brown.
Yeah,
Senator.
see how it comes through.
Yeah.
And now this assemblyman is also interested in NJ Transit issues,
Yes,
so.
so, yeah, he's not as connected as John.
Yeah, no, John always gets it done.
Sometimes he can, if things get down to the bottom, he can.
Senator Brandon always gets it done.
Thank you all very much for this thing.
Thank you.
Thank you for developing properties.
We're so excited.
So excited to see it actually come to. Yeah. I think we just did it all.
And where we did that one in the development plan, they gave it.
I gave it,
You gave
okay,
it.
you got it all together. I went into town hall on Friday morning. No one was in the tax collector's office. I wanted to, so I found a very nice person who told me I had to go to the building. I went to the building, the person who collects the taxes on vacation till Wednesday tomorrow. It's, yeah, 2 days from there. And, it's very difficult.
Yes.
Yet there's so much opportunity for redevelopment. I have other ideas. I don't want to go into this. It's like, well, really, there needs to be a little bit more attention to this because we could have been done by now.
Yeah, agreed.
So
I
I don't
believe
know.
that argument.
I actually called the town attorney twice on Monday on Friday, they forced him to call my attorney. Let me know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll get to the bottom of that, but this one comes here, because it's redevelopment, when you get to the planning board, it's a step of escrow that goes over there.
What comes here?
That money, we have it.
It came.
Oh, they yeah.
Yeah. It's done.
I made it out as stars.
Fun. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
May I answer any questions at all? Well,
Appreciate your patience.
Yes.
We're excited for the building.
thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public?
I was gonna follow the mission.
Gonna plug what?
Mesh. Oh, yeah, to go down, second one. Go for that.
Do we need to make a motion on this? To get this committee
Yes.
done? So let's just take care of it now.
For the technical committee.
Are you volunteering?
So, yeah, I'll do it because I'm around. I have free time.
So I move to appoint a technical committee pursuant to the redevelopment agreement regarding 65 Morristown Road, appointing. You can add in their last names, Jessica Caldwell, Steve Bolio, Denise
Florida.
Nancy Rule, our administrator, and
Second.
All in favor?
And
And Matt Jessup, yeah.
that's a lawyer.
No, he didn't. He should be.
Yeah, he should be there, even if he's not a member.
Okay.
And a TBD lawyer.
And I'll just go.
I mean, do we need, I mean, just thinking, keeping the cost down. Technical review.
Yeah, it's not
there.
Okay, leave it, then we'll just put past it. Yeah,
I mean, Jessica, enough regulatory.
Yeah.
Experience, obviously.
good call, Richard.
All right,
Yes, the
thank
lawyers
you.
are.
So now we have a closed session for contract negotiations. We will not be coming back, so, okay.
To go to closed session?
Second.
All in favor?